Hey guys, this is part 2 of which anime villains could defeat the military. If you guys want to watch the first one, you can watch right here, but we're just gonna continue where we left off. So up next is Esdeath from anime Got Killed. She is also known as the Ice Queen, and she could create and manipulate ice. With her power, she could freeze and break her enemies into pieces. She could also summon creatures made out of ice with her ice cavalry, and it is stated she created thousands of ice cavalry soldiers that would fight for her. Also, she could create weapons, shield, and armor with her ice, and she could manipulate the weather and create ice storms that will slow down her enemies and freeze her enemies alive. She also has a pet dragon which allows her to fly around the battlefield, and she could also stop time for a bit. However, this does take a lot of energy from her, so she prefers to only use it once a day. Now, her most strongest technique is her Ice Commander-in-Chief, which she draws all of her stored power from her Ice Cavalry soldiers and engulfs an entire continent in snow and ice. Speaking of continents, in terms of power, Esdeath scales to multi-continental because she froze over an entire continent in minutes. And for speed, she is at least massively hypersonic due to her being faster than Tatsumi, who could dodge lightning. Now, for the question if she could beat the military, yes, Esdeath does defeat the military, if not one-shots them with her ultimate attack. I mean, she could literally create a huge blizzard, and the military wouldn't be able to do anything to her. The jets and helicopters wouldn't be able to fly in that type of weather. Tanks and armored vehicles would get stuck in the snow, and ground troops would freeze alive before they could even reach her. And their equipment wouldn't work in such cold conditions. Plus, she could create 10,000 ice soldiers to fight for her, so she takes this with ease. So, Esdeath, easy win. I actually think she has an easier time beating the military than Doflamingo. Up next is All For One from My Hero Academia, and he is the leader of the League of Villains. And believe me, when I say he has too many quirks, I mean too many, like 38 of them. The more powerful ones include his All For One quirk that lets him steal quirks, his warping quirk, air cannon quirk, kinetic booster quirk. He has a strength enhancing quirk, a impact recoil quirk, a telekinesis quirk, a mind controlling quirk. He also has the quirk Blood Curdle, which allows him to immobilize his enemies if he, tastes their blood. He also has a force field quirk, an explosion quirk, a black lightning quirk, a repulsion quirk, and a spatial distortion quirk. He also has some other sensory quirks too, but the list is already too long. Beforehand, he used to take a lot of damage from using all of the different quirks so much that he started taking a drug called the rewind drug that restores his health but makes him younger each time he takes too much damage until he is erased from existence. In terms of power, he should have multi-continental levels of AP, since he should be equal to Shigaraki and high-tier heroes like Prime All Might and Deku. Villains like Shigaraki could fight with Star and Stripe, who could do this, and fought Deku, whose final punch was calculated at multi-continental. So All For One does scale to them in terms of AP, and in terms of speed, he should be light speed to just a bit faster than light. Now, does he have what it takes to defeat the military? And I, for one, would say yes. All For One is way too versatile and has way too many quirks available for him for the military to stop him. In his fight with Bakugo, he was leveling the entire city, plus he could fly and move really fast. So the military would have a hard time hitting him, and he could rewind his body so he could basically regenerate and will have multiple chances to learn from any mistakes he made. Granted, he will get younger each time, but if he is in his prime youth years, he is the strongest. So even if they manage to damage him from his old age to middle age, he just became way stronger. So they have a bigger threat to deal with. I would say it's an easy win for Shigaraki. Is it easier than Esdeath? I would say sure. After All For One comes Shigaraki, who is the protege of All For One. He is very similar to All For One, except he has some different powers. He also has the All For One quirk, which allows him to steal other people's quirk. He has the K, which is his most broken ability. He also has the Air Cannon quirk, and he has Super Regen. He also has Air Walk, so he could fly, Heavy Payload, which kind of increases the amount of damage he does. He also has the quirk Reflect, Scatter, Dark Ball, Impure Beam, Danger Sense. He has an Explosion quirk, a Repulsion quirk, and a Razor Blade quirk. So yeah, he has a lot of powers. And in terms of power, he has multi-continental levels of AP due to him defeating Star and Stripe and basically beating up everyone in the verse. It took Deku's most strongest punch to take him down, which was calculated at multi-continental levels of AP. And for speed, he should also be faster than light. And before you even say it, yes, Shigaraki does take out the military. He also has way too many quirks available to him, and he has one of the most broken quirks, Decay. The quirk Decay disintegrates anything he touches, and it could be spread to other people / objects who are in contact with the thing he's touching. Shigaraki can also wipe out an entire city in minutes with his ability and basically survive an explosion that is several times stronger than a nuke. Granted, he did dig himself into the ground to avoid some damage, but he still survived it. I don't see any way for the military to beat him, so I'm just going to say he wins quite easily. And I would say above all for one. Up next is Toneri from Naruto, and all I'm going to say is he can split the moon in half with one attack, and that is more than enough to take down the military. Matter of fact, it will one-shot him, so this is an easy win for Toneri. Up next is Blackbeard, and this dude is a complete menace in one piece. He has two broken devil fruits, the Quake fruit and the Dark fruit. With his Quake fruit, he could create earthquakes and tilt the sea and cause natural disasters like tsunamis all over the world, while the Dark fruit allows him to create and manipulate darkness / gravity. With this, he could swallow up entire towns and spit them out like gum. He could also pull people into his darkness and crush them. He could also pull people and objects towards himself with Dark Vortex, and he could create a large enough darkness that is half the size of an island and throw it at his enemies. Blackbeard is also a Logia, but unlike most Logia, he isn't intangible. However, he can cover himself with darkness to absorb any attack that is thrown at him. Also, he has two different types of Haki, Observation Haki and Armament Haki. We don't know if he has Conqueror's Haki yet, so I'm not going to include that. In terms of power, Blackbeard scales to moon level plus to planet levels of AP. Whitebeard, the former user of the Quake fruit, was stated to be able to destroy the world, and he caused earthquakes and tsunamis all around the world. Plus, Blackbeard is a Yonko and scales to other Yonkos like Kaido and Big Mom in terms of power. For speed, Blackbeard is way faster than Light, if not massively faster than Light, because he fought and defeated Law, who could react and keep up with Big Mom's speed, and even Light can't escape his darkness. So, can Blackbeard take on the military? I would have to say yes, Blackbeard has the power and range to wipe out the military in one blow if he really wanted to. Blackbeard should be able to create a tsunami just like Whitebeard, and it's GG. A tsunami should be able to wipe out most of the ground troops with ease, and for the Navy, Blackbeard can tilt the entire sea, which would basically just destroy every ship, including submarines. Plus, Blackbeard's Quake punches travel through water and was shown to be able to damage Law's submarine while it was underwater. And any missiles and bombs they throw at him can be absorbed into his darkness and or thrown back at them. He could also destroy any nukes that are shot at him thousands of meters away with his Quake punches, and can change the wind direction by splitting the sky with his sea tilt, as we see in Marineford. The only problem I could see is that Blackbeard can't really fly for all we know. However, he was shown to ride on this flying horse that is a part of his crew, so I might just give it to him. It would be an easy win, but since he can't really fly that much, I think it will be like right here, right below Toneri. After Blackbeard comes Kaido, the king of the beast, and Kaido was one of the 4 emperors of the sea, and he was straight up a monster. Kaido has a mythical Zoan devil fruit modeled blue dragon. With this devil fruit, he could fly, he could create clouds, and lift an entire island high into the sky. He could shoot fire from his mouth that could vaporize a mountaintop and blast through an entire island. He could also send out wind slashes that could cut through metal, and he could create tornadoes and shoot out lightning. He also can turn into a huge dragon that is the length of a town, and he could transform into his hybrid humanoid form, which is his strongest form. Kaido also has 3 types of Haki and their advanced versions. He has regular observation Haki, He has Future Sight, which allows him to look into the future for a few seconds. He has Armament Haki and Riro, which coats his weapons into a invisible coating which can bypass durability. And he has Conqueror's Haki and Conqueror's Haki Infusion, which can knock out a bunch of people with an invisible wave of spirit energy. And with Conqueror's Haki Infusion, he could hit people without even touching them and bypass their durability by hitting them with their willpower / spirit. With Conqueror's Haki, he can split the skies and create large shockwaves that push everything back. In terms of power, Kaido is moon level plus to planet level. He should be scaled to Old Whitebeard, who was stated to be able to destroy the world. Plus, Kaido is casually picking up an island and shooting multiple fire blasts like it's nothing. These fire blasts can vaporize mountaintops and blast through an entire island, top to bottom. Also, he was fighting Gear 5th Luffy and was pushing back against his Bajrang gun. So yes, Kaido can definitely take on the entire military with ease. 1. He could just lift a random island and shoot fire blasts from there, which can travel several miles, if not dozens of miles, within seconds, and is hot enough to vaporize a mountaintop. Any jets and helicopters would get shot down very easily, either because he knocks everyone out with his Conqueror's Haki that is around him, or he blasts them with his fire breath. He also has wind slashes, lightning, and he can make tornadoes, causing them to crash. Now for the battleships, he could just blast all of them with his fire breath and his wind slashes. And for the submarines, he could just pick up huge rocks and throw them into the ocean to destroy them. With his observation haki, Kaido could sense and see into the future, so any surprise attacks just wouldn't work. And for nukes, he would either blast the nukes out of the air miles away or just fly far away from them. Plus, he could just levitate an entire island and stand on top of it. So Kaido takes this quite easily. Easier than Toneri? I don't know. I'm gonna just say, yeah. After Kaido comes Madara, and he is a beast. Madara has a wide array of abilities, including reincarnation. He is also skilled in taijutsu. He has regeneration. He also could phase through objects and travel through the ground undetected. He could also create clones of himself to fight for himself. He could fly and levitate. He also has access to his nature release, which grants him the power of fire, water, lightning, wind, and earth. He also has access to wood release, which allows him to create wood clones and wood dragons. Madara also has a bunch of eyes, and excuse me for my Japanese, he has the Mangekyo Sharingan, he has the 2 Rinnegan's, and he could create a perfect Susanoo, which is a gigantic armored chakra body that could slice through mountaintops with one swing of his sword. He also could warp to different locations, and he has access to a 6-path technique, which allows him to absorb chakra, create chakra chains that are strong enough to hold down the tailed beast. He also has access to gravitational pull, which can create a large moon-like structure from the earth, and he could summon a bunch of large meteors. Madara also has access to the Limbo clones, which exist on another plane, and has an existent erasure ball with the truth-seeking orbs. The list can go on, but you guys get the point. He's very powerful and his abilities are broken. And in terms of power, Madara should be planet level to around large planet level of AP. He could summon a bunch of meteors casually and absorb the power of the Ten Tails, which could shoot out continent busting nukes. And he scales to Naruto, who could tank this moon splitting attack and whose chakra is strong enough to bust a large hole through the moon. In terms of speed, Madara should be faster than light, if not faster than light plus. His light fang attack is stated to be light speed, and Naruto dodged it, and Madara could keep up with that same Naruto and dodge / react to his attacks. And if it wasn't obvious, yes, Madara does defeat the military with ease. He has access to the Ten Tails power, which could do this. And he has several broken abilities. His meteors alone would be enough to take out the entire military in one blow, and he could regenerate from any attacks that hit him or even affect him. Plus, in his perfect Susanoo, he is basically indestructible. The military doesn't have anything in their arsenal that could break through his defenses. So this is an easy win for Madara. So I'm gonna put him right here. But that's all for this video, guys. If you guys like this video, like and subscribe. I'm going to be doing a part 3 for the rest of these characters. I'm kind of out of time and I gotta go. Forget these characters right here. I kind of added them by accident. But I'm out of here. Peace.